All right, everybody. Okay, there we go. Welcome to today's webinar. Sorry, can't put your iPad on the controls. It tends to advance you. So anyway, before we get started, everybody, I just want to make sure that you can hear us. So if you would, please type yes into the chat box, and also let us know where you're joining us from. This is so we know that you can hear us. Now, there's a bit of a delay in between when I say things and when you hear them, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce our speaker today while you're typing into the chat box. My name is Pete Mitchell, and a few years back, I was introduced to Debbie DeGroat. What impressed me the most was how driven she was to see her clients succeed. You see, unlike some real estate coaches that have never actually been in the trenches and sold real estate, that's not the case with Debbie. She got licensed in real estate when she turned 18, and over her sales career, she sold over 3,000 homes. Like most, it wasn't the easiest of transitions when she first got started in real estate. She, like everyone else, had a learning curve. What made her different was her drive. She was driven to succeed. Within a few short years, she was doing over 150 transaction sides a year, and that was with no team. And now she coaches some of the top agents across North America, agents like Ernie Carswell from Beverly Hills. His client roster is a virtual who's who of Hollywood with clients like Fergie and Katy Perry. Another client is Boris Kolodov from Toronto, Canada, who is already successful, earning $750,000 a year. And with Debbie's help, he went on to $1.5 million within his first year of working with her. And today she's with us, and she's going to be sharing on the community marketing system. Now, one more time, I just want to make sure that everyone can hear us, so go ahead and type yes and let us know where you're joining us from. I see Terry from Frisco, Texas, Bill from St. Louis, Missouri, Big Bear Lake, Suzette, that's awesome. Seattle, Washington with Nina, Richard from San Jose. So it looks like we've got people hearing us just great. Debbie, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And also, Pete, we can go ahead and just give a quick little shout out to Rebo Gateway. We want to thank them today for sponsoring the event and inviting you. And so we should explain that the reason we're doing this event today, Rebo recently came to us and said, we provide this terrific data and information to our clients so that they can target who they're prospecting in their marketing and be very strategic. And yet they're always asking us, now, what do we send and what do we say and how do we get them to respond to us? And so we, partnered on an event that we did just a couple of weeks ago here in Orange County, California. And unfortunately, as you can see from all of the places that you guys are joining us from, it just wasn't logistically comfortable for all of you to come in for that event. So Rebo asked, would we put this together for you today? So I want to just say in advance, we're going to go very, very quickly because this will end at the top of the hour. So we have about another 55 minutes with you. And what we're going to share would normally take at least 3 hours to cover. So we're going to move very fast, but please don't be too stressed about that, because at the end, we're going to invite you to have an opportunity to get some more help if you choose to do so. So you see there Pete Mitchell. Pete will tell you a bit more about his background in a few moments. Again, my name is Debbie DeGroat, and I am the owner and president of Excellium Coaching and Consulting, as Pete mentioned. And we do work with clients all across North America. And our whole belief is we really want to be in touch with what the real estate community needs. I'm part of a real estate family. My husband is still active full-time in the business. My twin daughters, Taylor and Erica, joined him in the business a year ago. And all of my coaches have anywhere from 20 to 40 years industry experience. Now, Pete and Alan Dalton and I partnered together to create this event for you. Now, Alan Dalton is a very well-known broker, many successful things that he has done in his career, including he was the CEO of Realtor.com. So he brings a perspective that's very unique to what we're going to talk about today. Now, unfortunately, Alan could not join us live today, but all of his content and ideas are woven into our presentation. So we have lots of good stuff to talk about. So as we begin this, I want to share with all of you, I certainly have nothing at all against you working with buyers. In fact, in my selling career, when I would close over 156 units a year, usually about half of those were buyers. But I really got those buyers from the people I knew, the past clients, the people I was, connected with in my sphere. I got them by prospecting around the listings that I took. And so really top producers across the nation typically are listing focused because listings give you control in your market and they provide a lot of opportunity. So we're going to give you some ideas for attracting buyers today, absolutely, but we're going to talk about the highest quality buyers, and we're going to spend a lot of our time on how to capture more listings, because I want you to think about this. How many active listings do you really need to have right now to have the business that you want to have? See, as I speak with top agents across the nation, most of them are saying it is really difficult to get listings, and the inventory is short and buyers are demanding and I need more. So to really be an active listing, you should have at least 5 good listings at all times. Okay, so Pete, go ahead, let's move on. So here's the big thing though today that we really want to talk about. If you want to win the sellers, you're going to have to change how you market yourself. Now, Pete Mitchell is my personal marketing guru. I met Pete about 2 years ago, as he mentioned, and he has brought a whole different perspective and quite some really powerful tools to the coaching clients that we work with, because you see, what he really helped me see and realize is that the real estate industry is rather incestuous when it comes to their marketing. And what I mean by that is they often copy the marketing that the agent in the desk next to them is doing, and yet none of it is effective. So Pete's going to talk more about that later, so I'm going to save that for him. But I really want you to ask yourself, is your current marketing effective? Are you getting a return on what you're doing, what you're mailing, and what you're sending? Because what we're discovering is 80% of real estate marketing dollars are wasted. And and that's pretty devastating, because it's hard to have a marketing budget as it is, and let alone to have it then not producing results. So Pete, we're going to move pretty quickly here. We already have discussed that the best way to attract these quality buyers is to go out and get those listings. And our marketing systems really should tap into the unmet needs of the market. So what is it that the consumers today really want from you? Now, if we were coaching you privately, what we would say to you is you need multiple streams of opportunity if you want to attract a stream of sellers. So we like to see you have 3 to 5 methods of attracting listings, because let's face it, just one niche may not be enough. So I want you to ask yourself this question. What is your current method? And I want to say your current strategic method of increasing your range, reach, and influence in your local listing community. Okay, and if you're wondering, well, what are these niches that I should tap into? That's part of the Rebo Gateway product to really help you identify. We help you identify where you prefer to work. They help you identify who you should target. Now, here's what I want you to think about. Would you be more excited to spend your marketing dollars on items that are showcasing you as a real estate authority, or pumpkins? Now, I'm not saying that to make fun of anyone who's passing out pumpkins for, the Halloween season, although I will say to you if you think back to our consumers 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, it has changed just drastically, because you see those consumers now have access to data. See, we are no longer the gatekeepers of the information. So we have to find new ways to really make you valuable in that community and set you apart. Now, we want to reach out to that community because a statistic I recently read said 75% of home sellers select a real estate agent they already know and respect. But see, guys, they have to know you and they have to respect you. Now, this is where Alan would usually step in if we were together in an event. So Alan, when he came to Pete and I about a year ago and said, we've got to get the agents on board with being very listing focused. We've got to get them on board with being community centric, because they need to build their influence in these communities. Because if they don't, the disruptors are going to take the seller leads away. Now, who are the disruptors? So remember, as a former CEO of Realtor.com, Alan is very aware of what's going on in that industry. So you all know that Realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia, they've disrupted the buyer market. They now go after those buyer leads and they sell them back to you. Well, right now, they have already begun to attack the seller leads. So if you want to disrupt that, you need to get out and you need to market very strategically in your community. Because I'll tell you what, while some agents are passing out pumpkins, they're going to be going after these sellers in a very high level fashion. So we got to beat them to the game. So I want you to ask yourself this. In the last 12 months, how many appointments did you go out on that you did not win? So part of what we would work with you on, if we had a little bit more time today, is how to improve your listing process. So we want to think about getting those listing leads. Then we want to be thinking about upping your game so that you're not losing those commission dollars. See, as we're working with our coaching clients, our goal is to, if we're not at 98.2% of the listings we go out on taken, there is still room to grow. Okay, so we want to go get those leads, and then we want to be at the top of our game using all of your company tools and resources and closing them. But Pete, here's the thing. We've got to get them invited to the table. And while you and I know that there's no, magic pill that's just going to have the phone lines blowing up, there is absolutely a difference in spending marketing dollars that produce little to nothing, or marketing dollars that actually generate the kind of seller leads that you need. And so Pete, from your marketing expertise, here's where I'm going to ask you to take over. And sadly, we have to move fairly quickly, but I know you can give them some great points. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself if you don't mind, and I'll just turn the show over to you for a few moments.
Great. I'll do that. So what we're going to focus on now is how to create effective marketing that will bring you all the clients you can handle all on autopilot. Here's what our goal is. Over the rest of this time that we've got together, we're going to share with you actionable ideas that you can take and go back and implement in your business for the rest of today and for the rest of your career. At the end of our time, we're also going to invite you, if you'd like, to participate in our community marketing system. And we'll tell you more about that at the end. And for some of you, you'll say, hey, that's exactly what I need. And for some of you, you'll say, you know what, you've given me great information. I'm going to go ahead and take this and implement this myself. Either way, we're totally happy with that. And what makes this different is this is not theory. We know what works. We've spent the money to test it, to try it. And what we're going to be sharing with you are some cold, hard facts on how effective marketing in real estate works. So as Debbie was saying, just a little bit about myself. I'm a 5-time author. My most recent book what everyone ought to know about Facebook advertising, how you too can generate red hot leads in the next 20 minutes with Facebook. I'm responsible for some of the biggest product launches on the internet, including Dan Kennedy and Chip Kessler's Making Them Believe home study course. I've been working with real estate agents since 2000, and over my career, I've done a lot of things right, but I've also done a lot of things wrong, and I've probably learned more from the things that I've done wrong. After doing this for 10 years, here's some of the things that I've discovered. I've discovered, number one, that most real estate agents and brokers haven't clearly defined their market. Most haven't thought through what bait will get people to respond. Most don't have a clearly defined and carefully constructed follow-up sequence. And most don't know how to run effective ads that actually bring them clients. Now, I discovered all of this the hard and expensive way by spending my own money and trial and error. You get to cheat and get this the easy way. So the hard way in real estate is pretty simple. You copy what other agents are doing, not knowing if it's working. Think about the last postcard mailer you sent out. That might have been exactly what you did. You might have looked around at what came in your mail, or maybe you went back and talked to some other agents in the office and said, hey, let me see yours, and you just copied it. You assumed that the other person knew more than you did, and maybe they were successful, but you didn't know if that marketing piece worked. You just knew, well, hey, maybe this person's successful. I'm going to go ahead and copy this postcard, not knowing if it was the postcard that brought them the clients or something else. That's what most agents do. Another thing that agents do is they conduct what I call spur of the moment marketing. And how this looks, you go out there and you close on a home, you get your commission check. Let's just say you got a $5,000 commission check and you're like, okay, great, I got $5,000. I need to spend a little bit of money on marketing. And you go, well, I'm going to go ahead and take $500 of this and I'm going to go do something with it. You know, I remember, Debbie, I had this realtor come to me one time, and he's like, Pete, I just got a call from the company that manages all of the advertisements on the Ralph's shopping carts, you know, at the local supermarket. And he said that they only contact people who are high integrity agents that have been referred into them because they're really protective of the people who shop there. And he's given me this opportunity to advertise on the shopping carts. Do you think I should do it? And see, that's what I call spur of the moment marketing. He didn't go into it with the mindset of, hey, I'm going to advertise on these shopping carts. Spur of the moment marketing happens all the time when you've got a little bit of money in your pocket and someone comes to you and says, hey, I've got a great way for you to advertise. Why don't you do this over here? And there's no rhyme or reason to it. We just kind of go, oh, okay, well, I've got a little bit of money and you've got a way for me to advertise. Let's go ahead and put these two together. And the biggest mistake that most real estate professionals make is they don't hold their marketing and advertising dollars accountable. In Debbie's company, we track everything. We know exactly what we're spending. We know where we're spending it. We know what it's bringing us in return. We know how many leads we're getting. We know how many of those leads are converting into what we have our introductory calls. We know how many introductory calls it takes for us to land a client. And so we're able to figure out what our customer acquisition cost is. That's because we hold our marketing and advertising dollars accountable. And when we find that something isn't working, we cut it out and we put something new in its place. Now, here are the 3 secrets to real estate marketing. And I want you to jot these down. We're going to go deeper on these here in a second. But secret number 1, there's only 3 stages to the selling process. You need to know what stage you're in with each prospect and use the correct marketing and advertising pieces that corresponds to that stage. Secret number 2, proper follow-up will bring riches. And secret number 3, you need to become a celebrity in your market and the only logical choice to do business with, and you will dominate. So let's go deeper on these. I said secret number 1 was there's only 3 stages to the selling process. Know what stage you're in with each prospect and use the correct marketing and advertising pieces that corresponds to the stage. There's these two great marketing guys, Dean Jackson and Joe Polish, and they really spell this out better than I've seen anyone else spell it out. The 3 stages are this: the before the sale, the during the sale, and the after the sale. And when I say it, you might go, oh, well, that's obvious. Well, it's not quite obvious. Before the sale is before they have raised their hand and said, you know what, I'm thinking about selling my home. That's the before the sale. So anytime before they actually raise their hand and say, you know what, I need to talk to someone. I need to find out more information. I need to find out what my home is worth. I need whatever it is. That all that time before then is the before the sale. The during the sale starts when they raise their hand and they say, hey, you know what, I would like some more information on, you know, whatever, selling my home, on buying a home, on finding out what my home is worth. That starts us in the during the sale part of the cycle. That extends all the way through when you close on the home and 30 days afterwards. Then after that, we go into the after the sale. And it's in the after the sale that you get repeat business, you get people to convert to being investors, and you also get the referrals. I mean, you get referrals in the during as well, but in the after is when we really want to go after them. But here's what's happening. People are using the wrong marketing pieces in the wrong stage. They're treating the before the sale as if they're in the during the sale. And here's what I mean by that. In marketing, there's what we call brand advertising, and there's what we call direct response. So I just Googled, you know, typical real estate postcard, and this is one of the images that came up. Lovely gal, but sounds like a typical real estate postcard. Now, I want you guys to think, is this what your postcard messages look like? It starts at the top, committed to assisting you with all of your real estate needs. Now think about that from the prospect's point of view. The prospect is looking at that going, well, of course you're committed to assisting me with my real estate needs. That's what your job is. Like, how is that any different than anyone else? If I'm a prospect, I'm going, okay, that doesn't mean anything to me. And then we go on further and it says, you have my firm commitment that I will work diligently to fulfill all of your real estate needs. Oh, well, it's your firm commitment. Think about it from the prospect standpoint. Well, of course I have your firm commitment. That's what your job is. That's why you're getting paid all of this money. I expect your firm commitment. Then we go on, my sincere goal is to offer you the best possible service. Let my knowledge work for you. So as you start to really unwind this and you look at this from the prospect's point of view, they're going, well, this doesn't say anything new to me. You literally could slap anyone else's picture on there and their phone number, and this could be from them. There's nothing that makes me say, I need to use this gal. And then she's got some bullets here: residential, commercial land, finding you the right home, helping you sell your current home, finding investment property, assisting with relocation or designing to sell, providing information for market analysis. In other words, if you have a pulse, I can help you. That's what this postcard is saying to the average person, to the average prospect. So the question that I always like to pose to people when we start looking at their advertising pieces, are you fishing without bait? If you've ever tried to fish without bait, you know it doesn't work. Like, you just throw a hook in the water. I mean, maybe if a fish is swimming by, you catch the side of it. But it is so much easier when you fish with bait. So now let's think about it from the prospect's point of view. What would be bait? Well, it depends on what you're going after. So let me show you an example here of something we actually used for a client. We said, okay, we're going to put together some bait, and we're going to put this out here in the marketplace, and we're going to see how many people respond. And that's what we're going to go for. So what we did is we put together a consumer guide to buying a home in Orange. Orange is a city out here in California. So our headline was Free Consumer Guide to Buying a Home in Orange. If you're looking to get the inside scoop on buying a home in the city of Orange, and this will be the most important postcard you read. Right now, this educational guide is being mailed out to the first 97 that respond. Plus, get a free report with up-to-the-minute statistics on all the homes for sale in Orange over the last 6 months, in all price ranges. In this fact-filled guide, you'll discover, and then we've got all these bullet points, and we tell them it's an educational guide. Now, understand this. From the prospect's point of view, now you're giving me bait. Now you're saying, okay, I've got this guide over here. It's an educational guide, and it's got the information you're looking for. The entire reason, Debbie, that the internet exists is because people are thirsty for information. The problem is there is literally so much information that you don't know what to trust. So when someone says, hey, I've sifted through everything and I've put together the information that you're after, here it is, that gets people to respond. In fact, I got this one client, he's a broker, and he's like, Pete, this is the postcard I want to send out. I go, okay, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think this thing is going to work. He goes, well, I know the guys who use it. They say it's a great postcard. I believe in it. I want to send it out. So I said, okay, let's give it a shot. We sent it out to 1,500 homes. Out of that 1,500, he got 0 leads. I said, okay, now we're going to send out my postcard. We're going to send it out with some bait. This is the postcard we sent out. Free February 2013 report on La Mirada house prices. If you're curious about what your La Mirada home may be worth, here's an easy way to find out what homes like yours are selling for in today's market. Then we've got our bullet points of what's in the guide. We've given people 2 ways to respond. One was to call an 800 number. One was to go to what's called a landing page website. We sent that out, and this time he got 18 leads, night and day. Difference was this was sending them something that they wanted. This was bait for them, whereas his postcard was all about him. And people don't care about you. They care about themselves. They're looking for information to help them. So here's some examples of some of the postcards we've put together in our community marketing system. And I just want to read the headlines here because I want you to think, as a prospect, how would this strike you? If you've ever hired a lazy real estate agent, then you have to read this guide before you list your home. Now here's the surprising statistic. I can't remember exactly what it was, Debbie, but you mentioned it at the event. It was something like 8% of people use the same agent on multiple properties. And that means that most people are not reusing their agent. And that could be for a number of reasons, but a lot of reasons, or a lot of the times what I hear is people weren't satisfied. Something came up. Well, we can't say if you ever hired a bad real estate agent, but we're going to tap into that conversation that's going on in their mind. They're thinking, hey, you know what, I want to sell my home, but I can't call Bob again. Man, Bob is horrible. We need to find someone else. And then this shows up on their door. If you've ever hired a lazy real estate agent, then you have to read this guide before you list your home. Well, then I need to know, what do you know that I don't know? Let me go ahead and call and get this guide. I'm going to raise my hand. Here's another example. Hiring a lazy real estate agent leads to terrible, terrible things. How to choose the right agent when selling your home who will net you the most money. 90% of home sellers don't know these tricks. April 2016, home sellers are in for a big surprise. So this is actually a headline that you would change to be the current month. So right now you do August 2016, home sellers are in for a big surprise. Free consumer guide, no obligation, mailed to your home free. Here's what we've got inside this consumer guide. One of the areas that we help a lot of people with is when they're downsizing. Don't get stuck with 2 mortgage payments, how to downsize the right way. So the reason why this postcard works so well is when someone's thinking about downsizing their home, there's a couple of questions that goes through their head. One is, hey, you know what, I want to buy a new home, but I don't want to get stuck trying to sell this one, and now I've got 2 mortgage payments. How do I avoid that? Well, we're going to show you how to avoid that. Another problem that people have, we've actually got another postcard for this, is, well, I don't want to sell my home before I'm able to buy a new one. I don't want to be homeless. How do I downsize the right way? And so we're going to enter that conversation that's going on in their mind. So the question I always get from people is, well, when do I do all my brand advertising? I mean, I've been told for years I got to do brand advertising, and you're showing me postcards that don't have my face on it, that don't have my info on it. You know, when do I actually do that? And the answer to that is you do that in the during and the after phase. It's the before phase when you don't want to do it, because we're trying to get them to raise their hand. But once they raise their hand and they request that consumer guide, now we do our brand advertising.
So,
now we speak with them that we're the right choice. Yeah.
If I could jump in for 1 second on this. So if it's their farm or if it's their past client list, and we're picking up a weird echo, I apologize, guys. If it's their farm or their past clients, they already have a relationship. People know them, like them, trust them. They could offer the guides and brand it with their photo, with their name. However, what's interesting is even then, some of our clients have been sending out the unbranded to the people that they know, having a great response to that, because the people that they know may not want to bother them until they're ready, but they're very interested to get these guides. So you can do the branding when you know them, but when you're sending a picture of yourself and your dog in a hat to strangers saying, I'm the best agent in town, they're simply not going to respond. So, but we help you with all this. We'll tell you how and when to use the branding and how to set that up to your best advantage, because we certainly want you to leverage the power of your company and the tools. We just need to be strategic about how we do that.
Yep, being strategic is the key. So secret number 2, proper follow-up will bring you riches. This is where the money is made and lost. I was talking with a very high-producing real estate professional here in Southern California. This is, I guess, tail end of last year. And one of the questions I always ask people when they come to me is I say, tell me how you're currently getting your business. He says, well, most of our business we get right now, we buy from leads from Zillow and Trulia and Realtor.com. And I started to chuckle, and he goes, what's funny? I go, you know, every time I talk to real estate agents, they tell me that they hate those leads, that they don't work. And he starts to laugh, and he goes, I know, I love that fact. He goes, the reality is we follow up with them until they buy or die, and that's our secret. He goes, we might buy a lead, and we're following up with them for a year and a half, and then they finally convert. He goes, most agents quit. They quit within the first month of getting that lead. He's like, you can't do that with leads.
Okay, so Pete, I want to jump in here for one moment too, and this is actually to Alan's point, right? That we have to get in these people's minds and hearts and heads, and really be their go-to long before they're actually ready to do something. And the real estate industry, Pete, which you're not as familiar with as I am, they've been trained over the years. Don't bother with people unless they're ready to do it right now. And that may be fine if you want a handful of deals. However, if you want to build a really successful, lasting business and you want to disrupt these disruptors who are trying to take your leads away from you, you're going to have a pipeline. You're going to have to nurture some of these relationships. And of course, you're going to focus on the hot now leads, but you're going to have to follow up. And I think, Pete, if they choose to get some help in the program that we have, you really go through with them in detail how to build these campaigns out. So I know that's something you will definitely help them with.
Yeah, and I mean, when I first bought my first home, we were renting in a duplex, my wife and I. And I remember calling on a realtor's, advertising piece. And I'm talking to him on the phone. And he goes, well, when are you thinking about buying? I go, oh, not for probably, 9 months to a year from now. He goes, oh, well, I'm probably not the right person for you to work with because, I only work with people who are ready to buy right now. I mean, we're basically going to be buying in the next 3 months. I'm like, okay, well, that's not me. And he's like, okay. And he was gone. And interestingly enough, a year later, we bought our first home. 2 years later, we bought our second home. And it was like, if he would have just stayed in touch with me or cared about me, other than I just got to quickly go out there and make a sale, he would have gotten 2 sales out of me in a relatively short period of time. But he didn't. That's where he dropped the ball. So proper follow-up, guys, is the key. I'm not going to go into this stuff in detail because we just don't have the time, but I will tell you this, that I follow up with people forever, literally forever. So I do most of my follow-up in the first 90 days, and if they haven't taken the next step, Then they go into a monthly campaign, and I drip on them with physical mail from then on. And yes, it does cost a little bit of money. However, we make a ton of money doing what we do. So it's worth it. This was a client I ended up making. This is, we just closed this in I don't know, I think it was like February. An extra $38,432 to me, and this person entered my sales funnel 6 years ago. Now, I would have rather that they bought 6 years ago, but I can't control when they're ready to buy. I can only control what I do. So I did, and I continued to mail them month after month after month after month. Not email, mind you, physical mail. Sent them a monthly newsletter, and it stayed with them to the point where I got this client, made an extra $38,000. Now here's the key. I get between 4 and 6 of these every year because of the follow-up. Now, is it a lot of money? Well, I mean, sometimes they're between, I'd say on the low end, 10,000, on the high end, probably 40 or 50,000. But it's going to add for me an extra $40,000 to $120,000 a year because I followed up with them. And that's the key, is we want to follow up. Secret number 3 is you need to become a celebrity in your market and the only logical choice to do business with. So here's what I mean by this. You want to become an author, but you don't have to become an author of a book. These are 4 reports that I've put together. I'm just going to read these real quick, and I want you to type into the chat box, yes, if you'd like a copy of any of these reports, and I'll send it to you. The first report is how to mail up to 152,143 promotional postcards every month without paying 1 red cent. That includes postage. If you'd like to know how to do that, go ahead and hit yes into the chat box. All right, Mark, I can see you want it. Sequoia, I see you want it. Candace, I see you want it. Great, Greg, I see you. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that you guys get that. Here's another report. 95 revolutionary methods and tactics for transforming your advertising into powerful response magnets. Apply these secret strategies to dominate, dismember, and utterly destroy your competition. Type yes in the chat box if you'd like a copy of that. 4 hot real estate marketing strategies that can flood your business with clients no matter what condition the economy is in. The quickest way I know to double your business income. Use this plan to help you maximize your business profits with the least amount of time. You're great. I'm seeing these yeses coming in like crazy.
I want them all.
Right, I want them all. Joseph, yes, please send me all the reports.
We will get them to you
Please
guys.
send them all.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So these are reports that I use to establish me not just as a celebrity, but as an expert, right? Because when someone reads this, they go, wow, this isn't just another marketing guy. This guy actually knows what he's doing. And it separates me from the competition. We do the same things with audio CDs. This is a cover of an audio CD that I put together. These are some CDs that we've helped put together and been a part of, and some consumer guides. The Consumer's Guide to Buying a Home, Top 10 Tips for Home Buyers, the 5 Most Common Myths to Buying a Home in Today's Market, The Truth About Your Credit and How to Get the Best Interest Rate. This is Andrew Sauce is a lender, Amazing Down Payment Assistance Program, and the Secret Federal Interest Rate Rebate Program. No one has told you about how low down payments FHA loan programs work. So the key is you want to differentiate yourself from everyone else. Now, Debbie, I'm going to turn it over to you because I know you want to go over the guides that we've got in the community marketing system.
So what I want them to, and can you get rid of that echo?
It goes away automatically after time.
All right, good. Okay, guys, just put up with us here for a second. So the anxiety, the excitement, the desire that you guys are feeling to get your hands on those guides that Pete has, that he's going to send you, those guides about how to market and where to market and what to market. See, that's the same feeling that we want the consumers in your community to feel. We want them to get that postcard and say, yes, I want to know how and when is it time to move up? What do I do? You know, I read a report on the plane a couple months back where Inman said, you know, we're always telling people it's time to move up, but there's so much anxiety attached to that. How do I do it? And how do I not own 2 homes? Well, this guide will tell them how. Now, I want to share with you guys These are actual guides. Now, you are welcome to get your camera out and take a picture of that guide and go, yay, I'm going to create my own guide. You could do that. Now, I created the guides along with the help of Pete, Alan Dalton, and my team, and I can share with you guys, they're 25 to 40 pages long, and they took over 1,000 hours to do. So you can do it yourself, and if you don't want to, we're going to tell you how to tap into what we created, and this is one of the actual guides that we have. And remember, this will attract sellers, but will likely be attracting buyers to you as well. Okay, so Pete, let's just keep on moving. So this is what we call, you saw our little fisherman guy fishing upstream, catching these people before they're ready to do something. Because see, this is what we know. 50% of Americans never move more than 20 miles from the community where they live. So your sellers could be buyers, your buyers could be sellers. So we know they have all of these needs. And that's why we put together in the community marketing system guides to address those needs. So Pete, let's keep going. My favorite, downsizing with distinction. The baby boomers are one of the biggest generational groups in history, but they don't want to downsize into some tacky property. So you notice it's the consumer guide to enlarging their lifestyle through strategically and selectively and sensibly moving to a smaller residence. So this is one of our most popular guides. Go ahead, Pete. This one I love. This is for you door knockers. My daughters love this. A minute ago, you saw a picture of my husband and my daughters. They use the community marketing system. They go out into the neighborhoods around a listing and say, we want to raise the values in the neighborhood. We're selling your neighbor's home. Would you please give us a review? Because see, consumer reviews and rankings are key today, and it engages them in great conversations that are pretty much rejection proof because they're so excited about sharing their thoughts and helping improve the value of their own home. And we actually have a script and a whole process that goes with that to share with you how to utilize it. Okay, now, homeowners intuitively understand that their own property value is linked to how other homes are valued in their community. And that's why they like the neighbors knows best. That's why they like these guides, because they can really understand what's going on in the marketplace. Now, of course, some of you are going to be working with buyers, or you may want to target buyers who are living in those rental homes in your neighborhoods. In our rent to own guide, we don't do the typical, now's the time to buy. We instead really give them a very professional view, pros and cons of owning a home. And yet clearly, because we all know it's better to own than rent, the guide is going to direct them towards the decision of contacting you to purchase a home. Our next guide is our expired guide. Expired listings don't want you to tell them that their price was too high. Now, maybe it was, and yet often the reason a home has not sold is ineffective marketing. Having that conversation with them gets you in the door in a unique way. Now, certainly, pricing is part of marketing. And in the community marketing system, I've created an entire webinar. We have scripts and everything you need on how to approach these expireds in a way that gets them to invite you in to examine what were the marketing avenues that their agent did not explore that you can bring to the table. Now, this is our for sale by owner guide, how to convert from just selling your home to having it professionally marketed so that it sells faster and nets you more money. Now, in that guide, we're going to talk to them about the fact that while they could sell their own home, the exposure that you can offer them will make them much more likely to net a higher price. Now, the home seller's guide to selecting the right real estate agent. This could be something that you send really to just about anyone that might be thinking of choosing an agent. It could be a great piece in your geographic farm. Also would be very good when you're talking to a seller that says, I'm looking to multiple interview to list my home. Now, here's the funny thing, Pete, if we can go back to that one for just a moment. This is such an incredible guide, and the questions that we put inside this guide that we ask that seller to ask the agents that they're interviewing are so unique and so complex that my husband, when he saw this guide, even though he's been in the business 30 years, he said, I love it. However, are you gonna give me the answers? So yes, we give you the guide with the questions for your consumer to ask, and then we give you the answers so that when you go in that appointment and you're competing, you are the clear choice because you stand out as the expert and authority that has the answers to all of the complex questions. Then we have our real estate planning guide. This is almost like a gift. This isn't as much a prospecting tool as it is something to set you apart as someone who's really providing a valuable resource. Because if you're like many of our coaching clients, they come to us and say, I don't feel good about the hard sell approach. I don't feel good about just promoting, I'm number one. I need to offer a service. I need to feel that I'm bringing something valuable and practical to the table, something that they really, really want. So the real estate planning guide is a tool for them. It's a very thick, it may even be, I'm trying to remember, Pete, it may be as many as 50 pages. And it would be a great gift annually to give to them and say, and if you'd like, I'd be happy to do an annual real estate review to update the value of your property. So that's a terrific tool with anyone, but certainly awesome for your sphere of influence and your past clients. Now, Pete, I think we have a few guides coming up too, right, that we're adding on, so we can go to the next screen. Coming soon. And they actually are complete, guys. We just haven't gotten them posted yet so that you can see the covers of the guides. Because Repo Gateway does provide you data on distressed properties, divorce, and investor properties, we actually have created 3 additional guides that are just now being uploaded to the Community Marketing System website for the members to access. So those are actually ready to go. So here's what we did when we put this together, and this is a project that's very close to my heart because I think many of you may have family members or children, entering the real estate business, and certainly we want them, as Pete said, not to do it the hard way. We want to give them the advantage. And when my daughters were coming into the business, I wanted them to have cutting edge tools and resources. I wanted them to have a way to set themselves apart. And to be honest, I used to prospect 5 hours a day, door knocking, calling, all the stuff that many of you do. And that's fine. We all need to prospect. They need to prospect. And yet I also wanted to have something that would deliver leads back to them so that when they're spending their marketing dollars, when they're spending their prospecting efforts, that the leads coming back are magnified and that they begin to build this pipeline, this funnel of fabulous now, later, and much later sellers so that every day they have new listing opportunities. And that's really why we designed the Community Marketing System. So we want you to tap into the hidden niches, and we want you to tap into multiple streams of opportunity. So Pete, I think now what we need to do, because I see the questions coming in asking, what is it that, I see one question that says, I'm an investor. How is this different than Repo Gateway? So I'm going to answer that question, then we're going to go into what it is that we're offering. So first of all, Repo Gateway has an incredible product that helps you target groups by giving you data. We have nothing to do with that. That comes from Rebo Gateway. What the community marketing system offers is it offers the tools to then market to those people, the guides to market to those people, and the how-to market to those people. So Rebo Gateway is really analytics to identify groups more likely to move, and the community marketing system is what to do and send and say. So Pete, if you want to go ahead and start walking them through, because I see the questions coming in, how do I get these guides? What is, how do I tap into this? So I'm going to let you go ahead and start taking them through that, if you will.
Sure, absolutely. So in the community marketing system, it's more than just turning over to you all of these great materials. What we also do is train you on how to use the materials properly so that you maximize your results. And we do this over a 6-week period. We have our next group starting this next Tuesday. And in week 1, so next week, what we focus on are essential real estate community marketing foundations. And the 2 big things that we go over in this week is how to clearly identify your target market, or what we refer to as your audience. And then we also cover in great detail, and I give you the actual forms that I use, how to track all of your marketing, how to set up your tracking so you know what's working and what's not. Let's say you're doing 3 or 4 different marketing systems, and only 2 of them are bringing you leads. It'd be nice to know which 2 are bringing you the leads and which 2 are a waste of money. You can cut out the ones that are costing you money and aren't delivering any results, and then you go back and spend that money in the 2 that are bringing you results. So in week 2, that's when you get all of these consumer guides. We've got 10 of these different consumer guides that we've just covered here. And we covered, by the way, in week 2, Debbie also gives you a webinar for each one of those guides, covering them even in more detail. In week 3,
I should mention on those webinars, it's really Pete's teaching you the how-to of the marketing system, and I teach you when you're in front of the people, when you're speaking with them on the phone, who to send those guides to, and what to say when they invite you to the table. So we have a good combo of both sides of the equation.
Yeah, it's the perfect marriage of sales and marketing. Debbie's going to tell you, here's how you sell, and I'm going to show you, here's how you market so you can get the opportunity to sell. So in week 3, we go over how to do your follow-up. I call this proper follow-up to convert more prospects to sales. We're going to give you the actual things to say on the phone, the text messages to text them, the letters to send with the guides, in what order you need to send things, how you need to do it, when you need to do it. We tell you on what day to actually send all of this material out. So we give you all of that follow-up sequence in week 3. In week 4 is the week that everybody's chomping at the bit to get to. However, we do it in this specific order for a reason. In week 4, it's where and how to use the community marketing system advertising pieces. So we've put together over 396 postcards. If you used 1 a month, you've got your marketing taken care of for the next 33 years.
And Pete, I think with the new 3 guides, you're probably going to be even adding more.
Well, that's the thing, is right now it's 396, but yeah, we've got 3 more guides that I've got to add marketing pieces for. So who knows what we're going to end up with when we're done with all of that. But bottom line is, you don't even have to think about what do I do for marketing. You've got all the pieces now ready to go. And but the problem that some people run into is when they start using those pieces and they start getting leads, but they haven't done these other steps. They don't have the follow-up system in place. They don't know how to use the consumer guides and what to say to them. They don't know how to track everything. It can be a big mess. And that's why we do it in this specific order, because we want this to work for you and to be successful for you. So then in week 5, we're going to cover how to turn your website into a lead machine that never stops working. And in addition, in that week, we give you templated landing pages for all of the consumer guides. So if you're running Facebook ads, if you're sending out postcards, if you're doing magazine ads, whatever you're doing, you now have a website where you can send people to to get those guides. Week number 6, we cover event marketing. And without going into this in too much detail, we've actually put together 4 events that you can do. Everything, and by the way, all of the emails, there's over 150 emails in this kit. Everything to promote your event, everything to get joint venture partners on board, to recruit like we've got a family photo event. Here's how you recruit the photographer. Here's how you then convert these people into clients, which is a big part of the event. And my favorite event that we've put together is an investor event, because my background is in financial planning, and I basically built my business off of doing investment seminars. And so we just said, hey, let's go ahead and put this together. But for the real estate side, what we don't give you with that is what to actually say at the seminar. And that's because each one of you is going to be different. Some of you are going to have the buy and hold philosophy. Some of you are going to have the flip philosophy. And that's really where you shine as an expert, is with the content. We just show you, here's how you pull off the event, get people in the room. Here's all the paperwork you need for the event.
And so, Pete, on that event, really quickly, my daughters and, Dawn did their family photo event in the park, and I watched them go through, and it was fantastic because you have it laid out when to send the emails, what to do, and I should emphasize how to bring on a JV partner, and that's where most agents fail in their community events. They don't know how to fill the event, which we teach them. And now you just mentioned if they're doing some type of seminar, we don't give them the content, but in a moment you're going to share with them that we do actually have a mastermind call every week where they can join you and me and Alan Dalton, and we alternate on that. And we can actually brainstorm together as our community, as we do, and help them come up with ideas for their content. So we can certainly help them in that open line help call that we do every week.
Yeah, absolutely. So the question always comes up, who is this work for? This is work for high producing agents with teams, high producing agents without teams, and then the favorite that I like to work in are agents that need to compete against established agents. See, I love that. There's usually a lot less competition. It's just this one established agent. And with this type of marketing, we get to go in there and suck out all of the leads, and no one even has a clue about what we're doing. So when we put this together, we really had 2 choices. First option was go as cheap as possible and try to sell as many as possible. And frankly, that wouldn't really incentivize us to stack the value. So option 2 was to require a little bit higher investment, but in exchange, we could devote more resources to guarantee your success. So here's what you actually get in the program. 6 weeks of training calls. In your case, it's going to be each Tuesday, starting next Tuesday at 1:30 Pacific Standard Time. Every Friday for the next 6 weeks, we have a live Q&A call. This is where you get to call in. You can ask any question that you've got. You can email us your questions, and we'll also answer those on the Q&A call. It's usually either going to be me, or it's going to be Debbie, or it's going to be Alan. One of the 3 of us will be on those calls.
Which, by the way, Pete, what's so great about that is you bring the technical side of it. I bring the in-the-street real estate side of it. And then Alan is really big picture industry strategy and what's coming next that you need to get ahead of. So each of those calls are very unique. And of course, if they miss one, it's okay, because as you're going to share with them, we do record them and we do post those transcripts.
That's right, yeah. So unlimited email support, we record and we transcript all of the calls. That includes the Q&A calls, the training calls, everything gets transcribed for you. We've got over currently 66 lead generation postcards, and they each have 6 designs each. So that's 396 postcards. We've got the 10 consumer guides ready to go. We've got the follow-up emails, the letters, the text messages, the website portal for all of your community marketing resources that you always have access to, even after the 6 weeks. And then we also are including a year subscription to Rebo Gateway. And the main reason that we do that, when Rebo came to us and we could see what they could do, as a marketer, I was very impressed. Like, one of the things that they talked to us about was the divorce market. So we put together a consumer guide for the divorce market, because after we talked to them, it was between 22 and 23% of people who file for divorce end up selling their home in the next 12 months. And so, I mean, that means out of every 100 people, 23 of them are selling a home. I'm marketing to those guys, right? And they've got that data. And so we took that and said, okay, great, we're going to put together a guide for investors, a guide for people who are divorcing, a guide for distressed homeowners who have maybe a notice of default or notice of sale or tax lien or something like that. Also, we're going to send you the 6 Ways People Are Persuaded. It's a CD that we have for you. So again, we've got all of this value right here. We added it all up, and we said, okay, this is going to cost someone about $33,000 if they were to do that. And if all this did was gave you the tools so you never had to wonder about what marketing pieces you need to put out, would it be worth it? If it were revealed to you what marketing strategies you're spending money on right now that aren't working, would it be worth it? If it helped you bring in 1 extra transaction each year, would it be worth it? Now, I should say, if that's all it did, now that's not all we want it to do, but if that's all it did, would it be worth it? So you got to ask yourself, well, what's 1 transaction side worth to you? What's 1 sale worth to you? 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 more? How much would you pay to get a listing? If you were to hire our team out, Debbie, Alan, myself, to put this program together, it costs you more than the average spends on their marketing budget in a lifetime. So again, it's the 6 weekly training calls, the 6 Q&A calls, the unlimited email support, all of the recordings and transcripts of all the calls, all of the lead generation postcards, the 10 consumer guides, the follow-up emails, letters, and text messages, the website portal access. I should also say in there, the templated landing pages, and a 1-year subscription to Rebo Gateway. And if you already bought Rebo, we're going to add another year to it. We actually pay for that. So you can see why this is a good deal at $3,997, significantly less than what it would cost if you were to buy all this stuff piecemeal. Now, of course, you guys know how it works. We've got a webinar special. We do. And the webinar special for today is it's only $2,997. So what you need to do in order to take advantage of that is, I'm going to hopefully pop that up there on your screen right now. You should see it coming up there. There's now a button there where you can click the add to cart. And we do have payment plan options available. You'll see it right on there. And we're going to get you started on this next Tuesday. Today, when you get registered, you're going to get access to the website, and you're also going to get Alan Dalton's pricing strategy, which is an incredible piece. So again, what you're going to get over the course of this program, the 6 weeks training calls, which are going to start next Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the 6 weekly Q&A calls that we do each Friday, the unlimited email support, the recording and transcripts of all of these calls, these 66 lead generation postcards, over 396 design options, where if you used 1 a month, it's going to take you 33 years to actually repeat any of that. 10 consumer guides that are ready to go, including the corresponding webinar recordings that show you how to use the consumer guides, the follow-up emails, the letters, the text messages, the website portal access for all of your community marketing resources, and 1 year additional subscription to Rebo Gateway. If you've already got them, we're going to add a year to your subscription. All of this for $2,997. Now, you've got 2 options when you're looking at this. First option, do nothing and not take the leap of faith. Nothing's going to change for you. And that's what, quite frankly, some people are going to choose, and that's fine. Maybe what you saw here today, you said, hey, I think I can do that myself. If you can, go for it. Option number 2, put up the small investment today compared with the value you're getting in return, and just give it a shot. Give it a shot. We look forward to the opportunity to help you build your practice, your business of the future. I just want to make sure that everyone's totally clear on what's included in this. Again, it's the 6 weekly training calls, each Tuesday, starting next Tuesday at 1:30. The 6 weekly Q&A calls each Friday, the unlimited email support, the recordings and transcripts of all the training calls, the 396 postcard designs, all of that ready to go. 10 consumer guides ready to go, including the corresponding webinar where Debbie's going to train you on what to say when you're actually talking with people, the follow-up emails, the letters, and the text messages, the website portal access for all of your community marketing resources, an additional year subscription to Rebo Gateway, whatever subscription you've got right now, or if you don't have one, you're going to get one. So that way, you've got now the data of who to market to, and now you've got what to actually send to people. And again, all of that for $2,997. Excuse me, guys. So what I'm going to do now is you should have the button there on your screen. I'm going to answer any questions that you've got. I see we've got a few here, so I'm going to go ahead and address these. Sarah's asking, do you have a payment plan? The answer to that, Sarah, is absolutely. There is a payment plan. All you got to do is click the button, and you'll see you can do single pay all the way out to, I believe we've got a 5-pay set up because we didn't want money to be the issue on that. But yes, we do have a payment plan available for you. Suzette's asking, the market I'm in is in a resort community. How would this type of marketing benefit the area? Great question, Suzette. So let me put it to you like this. Debbie's had me coach with some of her real estate professionals, and this one particular agent is in a resort community. And so we said, okay, let's actually define this market. Let's look at who these people are and what are they doing. So the things that we addressed were, or we looked at, we said, okay, a lot of them are buying second homes. Some people are renting out their properties, and they're using it basically as an investment property. So how you would use that in a resort community is that very thing. Is I would be hitting people who are thinking about buying an investment property in a resort community. And so our guide that's all about investment properties and how to choose a real estate professional to help you with your investment property, that would be a good one for that community. Also, you're going to find in resort communities people who are looking to move up in the resort community. You're going to have some who are thinking about moving down, but you're also going to have probate issues. A lot of people have those homes until they die, and when they die, it passes to the next generation, and now it becomes a probate sale. So with that, we've got the how to choose your real estate professional. So you would use Rebo Gateway to find out who are all the probate sales. And then what I would do then is I'd be sending out, here's how you choose your real estate professional who can help you sell that property. So that's how I'd use that stuff in a resort community. Let me see here. I got another question. I could send this out to people in foreclosure. Or is this only related to helping homeowners try to sell their home? Yeah, Adam, most of this is, because I know Adam commented earlier, he's an investor, not a real estate agent. Yeah, it is really designed for an agent. So I don't know that it would make a lot of sense for you as an investor who's not going to help them sell the property. I mean, the thing that would help you the most, but I don't think it would make sense to get the entire program for that, would be the event seminar that we've got for investors. To me, I just don't know that that would make a lot of sense for you. But yes, we do have a foreclosure guide. Actually, it's a distressed homeowners guide, and that is designed to get the agents in the door. Whereas people who go through that, they're usually going to get tons of email from people. What we want them to do is not just get a ton of email and letters from people, but we want them to actually see, okay, this person is providing me value over here. The guy, and I wish I had it right here in front of me. I don't have it in front of me what the actual headline is on the guide, but it is designed to get the real estate professional in the door so they can figure out, do they need help with selling it or what? Terry's asking, do you do this every 6 weeks? No, actually we don't. We do it every time we have an event, which right now we don't have any more events planned for this. I believe right now through the end of the year. Actually, no, I take that back. We do have one event in October planned. It's a private event. It's not a public event. So we'll do the 6-week course after that. But no, it's not a perpetual every 6 weeks we're doing it. So we're doing it because we knew we were doing this webinar today. We're starting another group next week. And then Sarah asked, I missed the payment plan. Can you repeat that? Yes, Sarah, absolutely. Payment plan, all you got to do is you click the button. It should be on your screen. In fact, I'm going to, well, I actually don't want to redo it. It's going to restart the timer over again. But yeah, you'd click the add to cart button, or you can simply go to communitymarketingsystem.com and click the add to cart button on there. It should be on there. Either one of those is going to take you basically to the same place that button is taking you to. And there are payment options all the way up to if you want to spread it out over 5 payments. We've got that on the page there. So you can just select as soon as you click the button what payment you would like. All right, so does anybody else has any questions? I would love to answer your questions. If not, then I want to appreciate your time. I know we've gone a little bit long. I thank you for sticking with us. And I look forward to talking with you guys on next week's community marketing system. The Q&A calls are probably the most informative part of the group, because you get to hear everyone else's questions and you get to hear what the answers are to those. In fact, last week's Q&A call, because we had a group that's still going through it right now, their Q&A call, man, it was a great one, because we were going into how do we actually send out our letters. So this is after someone's raised their hand. What do we put on the outside of the envelope? How do we address it? Do we use labels? Do we not use labels? Do we use our logo? Do we not use our logo? There's all that kind of good stuff. And I think a lot of people get more out of the Q&A calls than almost anything else. I think it's just because you get to actually see the practical application of everything that we've talked about. And you get to hear how other people are using it and the kind of results that they're getting. Even though we say the Q&A calls are for 6 weeks, we've never kicked anyone off who came through an earlier session and still wants to show up for the Q&A call, because it's the same number. I mean, we didn't change the number or anything. It's always Friday at noon Pacific time for those Q&A calls. But yeah. So anyway, guys, I don't see any more questions coming in, so I'm going to thank you for your time, and I'm going to go ahead and end the webinar now. And again, thanks, guys, for your time, and I look forward to seeing you in the community marketing system starting next Tuesday. Talk to you then.